Welcome to Swanzey Now, and this is Mike Bramley. He's the town administrator for Swanzey, and I am just a resident of Swanzey, but I have a lot of interests. So what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be talking about the voting that's coming up, because we've already gone through the budget hearing and the deliberative session. I am really getting good at this
You're getting
now.
all these terms down.
I am.
And you're Jody Turner, by the way. You forgot
yes,
to. And you're not just a resident, but that's okay.
I am a resident that is very interested in what's going on in the town. It just has happened that I have gained this interest, but I'm learning a lot, and I encourage anybody that is going to be interested in learning more about Swanzey to come to some of the selectmen meetings and some of the other meetings too. I haven't gotten to those yet, so
there's plenty of meetings.
Watch out. All right, so today we're going to talk about some of the things that we've reviewed at the deliberative session. Michael, why don't you start with some of the stuff that we did? We've got a first slide, which is the deliberative session, just the overall. Took place on February 4th.
That's right, at the Monadnock Auditorium, and there's a recording of that on the Town of Swanzey YouTube channel. I don't know if it's also playing on Cheshire TV, but so that is available if you want to watch the actual session that we're going to talk a little bit about. It's on the YouTube channel.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. And so if there's any kinds of questions that you have as well, contact Michael, because Michael's email is mbramley@swanzeynh.gov.
That's right.
And so he's happy to answer any questions you have. One of the reasons that we're doing this show today is we want to make sure that people are prepared before they get into the voting on March 10th. And March 10th is going to be at Christian
Life Fellowship Church on Whitcomb Road.
Yep. So, and that goes from, what time does it start?
I believe it's 8 a.m. to 7 p.m.
7 p.m. So make sure you schedule your time well so that you can get there. We got in and out very quickly for the regular voting that we had just recently. In February, but you never know.
Right, and if you're going to be out of town or other reasons, there is absentee voting available, so just contact the town clerk and you can talk to him about the requirements for that, but that is another option too if people are going to be away for the vote.
And one other thing that, Michael, you were mentioning too is that we're going to be getting something in the mail for all Swanzey residents so that we are prepared, so that it's a little form that we can look at.
Right, so we mail out a voter guide which has the language of the articles that we're going to go over a little bit, and then what's going to be on the ballot. It has a little explanation. Sometimes the wording of the articles, which is prescribed by law, is not super user-friendly, so we try to put a little bit more plain English swing on it, and it has a little information on each article, and then it also has a sheet on the back where you can kind of go through and keep score. Yes, I like this one, no, I don't. So when you go in the ballot booth, you can bring that with you, and you can just go down the list and transfer your votes over versus having to go in there, read through all the articles for the town, all the articles for the school, and try to decipher it there. It could take a while.
It feels like you're taking a midterm.
I know, it feels like a test.
Because there's so much to read, and to be able to understand everything that they're saying. And I didn't see, from what I've seen, I haven't seen any things that are like slid in, like things that you would miss. Everything is very organized and easy to read from what I've seen. So again, you'll have it on your website.
Right.
Again, www.swanzey. There's a dot there.
There's a dot there.
SwanzeyNH.gov if you're interested in more information there. And it's a great website too. I can't believe how much information I've been able to extract.
Well, it's a new website. It's been up and running a couple months now, and we appreciate that you think it's working well.
Cool. Okay, let's get into this. So we've got several articles. And what is there, 17 articles?
Is this a test? Yes, I think there are 17 articles. And so we did another show that kind of explained what these different meetings were, but the deliberative session that we're going to talk about, Swanzey's a SB 2, Senate Bill 2, official ballot form of government, so we don't have a traditional town meeting. We have kind of a two-part town meeting. So the first part is the deliberative session where articles can be discussed and amended. We did have one that was amended, which we'll talk about in a minute. And then they go on to the ballot, and then they get voted on, again, at March 10th, Christian Life Fellowship, 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. So this was the first session, and then we're going on to the second session at the vote. So with that, why don't we get into some of the
Yeah,
slides and some of the next.
So the first slide that we have is the 2019 tax rate breakdown.
Right, and so that's for last year, that the tax bill that folks just got in December a couple months ago. And I'd just like to start all of our meetings with that to just remind folks that the money that we're talking about for the town portion is about 22.5% of your tax bill. So if you got a tax bill for $5,000 or $6,000, you have to pay the whole bill to the town, but that's not all the town portion. It's broken it between the town, the school, and the county. So the town portion is about 22.5%. So that's why we put that graph there.
Yeah, and it's good to know where your money's going. It really is, yeah. Okay, next slide, Warrant Article 3.
So we did, you've actually done a few shows on this item specifically, which is to approve funding for a new fire station at 321 Old Homestead Highway. It's a $3.5 million bond and a couple other funding sources. We have a pamphlet, which if we want to shoot back to us real quick there, we can show the pamphlet, which is available at Town Hall. It's on our website. We're bringing it to different meetings. We've been doing some road meetings. We've been trying to get it out to unwitting audiences there, so they have to get the information.
Yeah.
So it has a good amount of information, we think. Why is this needed? Why are we doing this?
Right.
Why can't we do some different things that people have suggested? So hopefully it has some good information. So I think with that, we're not going to spend too much more time on the fire station because we have some tours you did with Interim Chief Mattson of the fire station. So a lot of fire station information. So I think we'll continue to
And so
move
those
on.
are on YouTube, but they're also on Cheshire TV. I think we're going to be running
Yes.
them until we get to March 10th. So we're trying to get as much information out there to people as we can.
Right.
So yeah, and they all did a great job. I'm very happy with the people that have been helping us to get the word out. Okay.
Doing our best.
All right. So anything more on Article 3?
No, I don't think
Okay.
so. And that one, so that article was not amended at deliberative, so it'll go to the ballot as written.
Okay. And Article 4, that is regarding the transfer station?
Well, so it's just the general operating budget, but I
Okay.
think one of the items in there is an increase for staffing at the recycling center, and we have a clip from Josh Whipple, our solid waste manager. So we'll cut to that clip.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Josh Whipple, the solid waste manager for the Swanzey Recycling Center. Here we are at the Swanzey Recycling Center. So this summer we're looking to do a full-time seasonal employee, and that will help kind of ensure that we're getting the right recyclables to market, and everything's going to be organized. It'll help ensure that we're shipping large quantities of clean material that hit the highest market value. And we actually purchased 4 40-yard shipping containers this summer. That'll allow us to be able to ship 40,000 pounds of a single commodity to hit the highest market value for it. So we've been having some problems with the recycling markets lately, whether it's fibers, plastics, metals. As you can see here, we've got a different setup. We're sorting out different fibers to get a higher market value for them. Some of the problems that we've hit is the mixed paper market, where it's kind of saturated right now. There's too much contamination. Not many countries want our kind of mixed paper. So sorting out this kind of stuff, we're actually making probably double or triple our money from just sending out regular mixed paper. The plastic markets have been holding steady, but as long as it's not $95 a ton disposal outside, so as long as, even if we're paying for recycling at this point, it's cheaper than $95 a ton out there. The cleaner the material we can recycle and the material that we can pick out to fit into these markets a little better, the better off we're going to be overall. And I think it's very important to still be dedicated to the recycling aspect of it and make sure that everything's clean and organized. We really appreciate your dedication to recycling. It's kind of shifting right now, and we'd appreciate some of the guidance that we can provide that you would follow. Your continued support will help to make sure that Swanzey Recycling stays on top of the markets, and that all we do is improve, and hopefully after the market change we'll be miles ahead of other facilities and be able to really make some revenue off this. So we appreciate your help. So these are our new 40-yard shipping containers that we purchased this summer. We actually got a grant for one of them, so we saved $3,700 on it. But this will allow us to stack full shipments up to 40,000 pounds. Full container of just sorted newspaper. We can reach about anywhere from $40 to $80 a ton on this. So each one we're gonna stack a full load. We'll be able to hit the highest market value and the availability to be able to ship these items. So we appreciate all that the residents of Swanzey do, and we just want to thank you for everything and hope you keep up the good work.
That was a great clip from Josh.
Wasn't that a great job for Josh? Yeah, I'm very happy with that. And had you seen the storage
Yeah, no,
units?
those new, I haven't been down since those new storage units went in, so those look great. They're
Yeah.
definitely an improvement over, I think they had some trailers that were kind of corroding and
Right.
falling apart, so no, those look great.
Yeah, yeah. I think, just to touch on this real quick, Josh has done a great job.
Yes, he has.
I've been very happy to see him, because I love trash too. I know it's hard to believe, I know, but I used to love going to some of the sites that they had there, the metal area and
yeah.
things like, I like to recycle. I like to, use what we can. Anyway,
Stay focused.
stay focused, right. Okay.
So-
I love the transfer station. Okay.
It's a great place.
Okay, Article 4, we did have an amendment to that.
Yes, so
Okay.
that was the budget was increased $27,000. It's important to note, the gentleman who made the amendment kind of told us why he wanted to increase the budget, but it is really up to the selectmen about how they spend the budget. So all they can increase is the bottom line. What he had stated was that he was doing it to support the Swansea police officers, trying to get additional compensation for them. So that amendment did pass. So if we get back to when we get back to the slideshow, if they talk about some of the summaries, those numbers have changed. So maybe it's better. Nope. So that's changed too. But we can.
Yeah.
That's close
Approximately,
enough. So
yeah.
that shows the breakdown between the different budgets. You can see some of the percentages there. So the police department percentage will go up maybe 1%, probably not even that much. But the overall budget did increase that amount. So that's in addition to what was proposed by the selectmen.
And that's just a number to go by, so that, we can go underneath it.
Right,
We
don't
just
have to spend it either.
Exactly,
Yep.
exactly. So on another show that we have, we're going to go over how funding is made up, and bonds and money that is budgeted and different things like that. So we'll do that in another show, because that's interesting to me too.
To me, at least, probably not to most people. But
Well, I want to know where the money comes from and what is it that we're paying and from there.
Right.
Okay, so that was Article 4. Let's see what we have. We have another graph.
couple graphs, yeah. Yep, so that just shows the revenues of the town. Obviously, the bulk is property taxes. The next largest revenue source is motor vehicle registrations, that big green block, and then I think the purple is interest and penalties, if
Yep.
I can read it right.
And the selectmen, I know, are trying to keep the tax rate down.
Absolutely.
So, that's impressive as well, because none of us want to pay more taxes.
Right. They do everything they can to find alternate revenue sources, whether it's grants or foundations or different things. You know, we're going to do a show on Wickham Hall, so that talks, really is a testament to grants. That project specifically, how successful we've been with grants. So yes, we want to keep the tax rate as low as possible while still providing high quality services.
Exactly. Okay, Warrant Article 5.
So we can deal with 5 and 6 kind of together fairly quickly. So those are contributions to the various capital reserve and expendable trust funds that the town has. So we have a 6-year capital improvement plan. So that deals with buildings, vehicles, equipment. And so those funds, the money goes into those funds and then they get spent out as basically recommended by the plan and the department heads. And then the selectmen have authority to spend money out of those funds.
Great. All right, and then
That was Article 5 and 6 that we just talked
about.
about
Both
briefly.
of them. Okay.
Yep.
All right. So Article 7 is
Tax
the
maps. So that's exciting stuff, at least for us. But
Right.
a tax map update. The town's tax maps date to the 1970s. We routinely run into errors or issues where we show a map on the map, or show a lot on the maps, but we don't have an owner assigned to it. We don't know who owns it. So it causes issues with developments or building permits or different things. So we can do a full mapping update, and then we'll have a modern GIS mapping system that is going to map our utilities, and it's going to be really great to work with.
And that's going to be taking place over a 2-year period, is it?
3-year period.
3-year period. Okay.
And so you talked about funding briefly, so that's funded from what we call the undesignated fund balance. Basically the money that's been left over from underspending other years has built up a little bit. We just want to spend that money on one-time projects versus if we build it into the budget, then when it runs out, we have to jump the tax rate
Right.
up. So we'd rather spend that one-time money on one-time
So it's not
purchases.
expected.
Right.
Yep. Okay. Article 8, the town bridge
Okay, that's
reconstruction.
to reconstruct Christian Hill Road Bridge. People in West Swansea probably know where that is. It's kind of a continuation of Main
do
Street.
they use that bridge? I'm just joking.
can't right
It's
now,
been down
but
for so long.
It's been closed, since 2014. We finally got it in the state plan, so it's going to come from 80% state money, and we want to reopen that bridge.
Yeah,
and it goes
that'll
over
be
the
great.
rail trail, but it's really kind of an eyesore right now.
Yeah.
It's the detour is not long, but it is kind of tight, and it's not great for fire engines or different things. So the community has prioritized getting that replaced.
Yep. I'm glad that's going to happen. Okay, warrant article 9 is the Ashwillet Rail Trail.
Yeah, so rail trail for Ashwillet and Cheshire Rail Trail. So that's again another grant. Talking about the grants, that was a significant grant we got through the Transportation Alternatives Program. Again, they're paying 80% of that project, and that's going to improve the sections of the Ashwillet Trail that are not already improved. Some of that trail, kind of in your neck of the woods, along
Yep.
Matthews Road,
Yep.
is already improved, but the rest of it down to the Winchester Town Line, and then the whole stretch of the Cheshire Trail going from the Keene Line down actually a little bit into Marlborough
Yeah.
along Route
I think
12.
that's going to be great. As sad as I am to see that we don't have trains anymore, right? They're just probably never going to come back.
Right.
But to be able to use that area, I mean, for biking or hiking, it's just beautiful.
Right.
And then to go across some of the trestles, and it's history. And it's easy to get to from one area to another, and there's areas where you can park. It's just, I'm really glad that
It's
they're going to be doing
it's really a good redevelopment of, like you say, I like taking trains, I like Amtrak and some
Yeah.
of those things, but fortunately they took them up. They're probably not coming back. So it's a great way to use those resources for transportation. I mean, who wants to bike on Route 12, right?
Right.
But you can bike right along it on the rail trail in a safe
Right.
place. So that's going to be great to get that
And
done.
you can go into Keene. I mean, because now they have the bridges that you can
Right.
go over the highways. So
Right.
it's really a great way to, especially in the warmer warmer months,
Right.
to be able to get from one place to another.
Right.
Yeah. All right.
What's
Article
next?
10.
School resource officer. So that's something the town had a school resource officer with Monadnock High School several years ago, 6-7 years ago, for reasons that we probably don't need to get into. That position was eliminated and went away. We've had a couple efforts to try to bring it back. We're hoping it's going to be successful this year. It's obviously, a lot of it's about safety for the students, but it's also about building positive relationships between really all the young people, but especially some of the at-risk or ones that are maybe getting into trouble more. Get them some positive relations
Right.
with police officers. I know at my high school, the school resource officers were important, and I think it's important to try to
Yeah.
bring that back.
I mean, when I look back at the days in high school, the kids that were having problems just needed a little guidance.
Right.
I mean, I know that they didn't want it at the time,
Right.
but they don't realize it until maybe later on in their lives that really is important.
Right, and it gives them some interactions when they're not, being pulled over or in trouble.
Right.
They get to interact with them in a different
Good
atmosphere.
relationships.
So,
Yep, great. Okay, we're shooting through these.
alrighty,
Okay,
Warrant Article 11 is
11.
definitely long language in that one. Unfortunately, yeah. Oof, look at that. We're going to just give a brief overview. So basically, how this one works is, if it's approved, the selectmen will have the authorization to grant some temporary tax exemptions for commercial and industrial improvements. So think if a new factory moves into Swansea and they build a $1 million factory, they could get up to a 50% property tax exemption for up to 10 years. So it's about incentivizing new development,
Right.
but also not giving away the whole farm, but just giving them some incentives to locate in Swansea versus Keene or Winchester.
And we do have some areas that do need developing.
Right.
Or redeveloping.
Right.
So that is a great incentive.
Yep.
All right, I don't know if we have any more on 11, but we are going to go to Article 12.
Okay, yeah, we can deal with that one quick. So
Yeah.
that's just an old section of non-maintained road. It kind of bisects a couple of properties. A few of the abutters have asked that we get rid of that road. So we're just it's just kind of a housekeeping to clean up an old road so that people can not have to worry about a road running through their property.
Right, right. Okay, Article 13, Capital Reserve improvements for the Goldenrod Grange.
I think I should let you take this one.
So the Goldenrod Grange Hall is a building that is in Swansea Center.
Right across the street from the town hall.
It is, and there's a lot of reasons that we should keep that building. It's all up in the air right now, but it's a building that has been there for,
100 plus years.
100 plus years, yeah. And what we need to do is shore it up a little bit. So what we're looking for funding for is to make sure that we can get some of the windows and the doors and the roof secure so that we don't have future problems.
Right, so it doesn't get worse.
Right, right. And so I personally hope that we do pass this so that at least we have the money there to make some of these upgrades.
Right.
And this is not the whole update for the renovation of the project.
Not
This
even
is
close.
this is just to get things started.
Right, and we did hire an architect earlier this year with money, partly that was raised by the Goldenrod Grange folks, the Swansea Preservation Society, and had a study done, got some real estimates on work and some kind of a roadmap. So now this is kind of the first step on, to get that building up is probably a long road, but first step of at least shoring it up, like you said, and keeping the weather out. And then we need to identify some uses. We need to identify some funding plans. We're going to do another show about Wickham Hall. We can talk about how successful that group was at fundraising. So that's an important piece of it.
Right, right. So, one building at a time.
That's right.
Yep,
We're
saving
almost
our
done with
history.
one.
That's right, that's right. It is beautiful.
Yep.
I hope that everybody watches that show.
Yep.
Okay, Warrant Article 14. Prisoners of war.
Okay, yep. So that's a new law that was passed that gave towns the authorization if someone was a prisoner of war or Purple Heart recipient, they get one vehicle registration covered. And Swansea is a designated Purple Heart community, so we thought that was important to do that
I think
local
it is.
option.
Yep.
And it's not a ton of people fortunately it's a small number of people that in Swansea that it would affect, but we still think it's important.
Yeah, it's nice to be recognized for your service. Okay, Warrant Article 15.
So
The
that's
sports book.
again another new article. So New Hampshire now has legal sports betting. Right now you can do it online on an app, and if there are going to be some physical locations throughout the state. We don't know if someone would want to locate them in Swansea. If this passes, it certainly doesn't mean that we would have one. It means it could be possible, though. We're located close to Vermont, close to Massachusetts, so maybe it's possible to get a new business for that. And we're actually going to have a public hearing on that February 19th. So depending on when you're seeing this, it might have already happened, but we have to have a designated public hearing on that as well.
I see. So why do you have to have that?
Just how the statute was set up.
Okay.
It was the same with Keno. So Swansea
Okay.
approved Keno last year. Same thing. So it's, again, kind of cumbersome in that we have the deliberative session, then there's the vote, and then in this case, in the middle, there's an additional public hearing.
But
that
at
we
least
to
people have a
so-
chance to be heard.
Exactly.
Right, okay. Article 16, $2,000.
So these are,
oh,
yeah,
the
a couple of-
residential for.
So these
this is
last two are petition warrant articles that came in. I'll kind of handle those a little bit together like we did the other one. So this one is for veterans with a service-connected total disability. So the current tax credit is $2,000 off their taxes. So this would increase it to $4,000. And we have about 25 of those folks, so it would be about a $50,000 impact per year. The other one is Article 17. Also is by petition. It's to increase the standard veterans tax credit, which currently is $250 to $500. And we have about a little over 300 of those.
Yep.
So those are two new tax credits that came in by petition.
Yep. So in summary, I don't know if you want to just touch on this, but
Well, so yeah, and unfortunately, like I mentioned, because the budget got increased, the summary that we had
Approximately.
previously has changed a little bit. But if everything passes, we are looking at some tax rate increases. I think the overall increase before the amendment was, if everything passed, including the petition articles, was about 11%. So it's going to be a little higher than that. That's certainly higher than we usually certainly recommend, but this year is a little different. We have A, those petition warrant articles, B, the fire station, and that does reflect a lot of the cost of the fire station.
Right.
Sometimes when a bond's approved, it doesn't impact the tax rate for a few years, but this year where we only bonded a portion and then we're spending a portion, there is a little bit of the impact on that. So there's a number of items. We certainly think they were well presented or well put together, and hopefully the voters support them. Again, as you mentioned, we got the voter guide that's going to be coming out soon, so that has some more information. We try to give you some plain English information in there. I think, like you said, we might do a show on that as well.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
what else have we missed?
I just think that if you have any questions, you should go to the website. Again, www.swanseanh.gov, or contact Michael or someone in the administrative office for whatever questions that you might have. I just think that if you're well informed before you get to the voting on the 10th, on March 10th, that it'll be so much easier and it won't feel like such a task.
Right.
Yeah. So today we've been at Swanzey Now with Jody Turner and Mike Bramley. Michael, there is so much. I hope that people will start learning a little bit more about the town. I'd love to see more people at the meetings and getting involved and being on some of the committees.
Right. We have committee openings, so
Yeah.
come on out.
Yeah, great. All right, so we've been Swanzey Now, and we'll look forward to seeing you again. We've got lots of shows out there, so browse through YouTube and on Cheshire TV at channel 1301. Thank you.